of that too, but then my neighbor went over and did some covert surveillance and yakking.
Okay, sir, we're ready.
Very good.
But
I just
a lot
took
of
'em down
those, a lot of them were like live oaks and stuff, and those get rotten really high up. You don't realize it.
Welcome, everybody, to the October 10th Parker meeting. We're going to go ahead and rein the meeting in here. Terry, could I ask that you do our invocation? Thank you, sir.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful fall day you've given us. We thank you for bringing us through what we faced 5 years ago today. And it taught us that our family, our friends, and our God is more important than our material possessions. We ask your blessings on this procedure and those in it today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you. Terry, thank you. Madam Clerk, would you do the roll call, please?
I will. Mr. Haney.
Here.
Ms. Hutto.
Yes.
Mr. Robichaud.
Here.
Mr. Stryker.
Here.
Chairman Riga.
Here, thank you. Did everybody get a chance to review the minutes? And I gotta say, I do like the way the minutes are being recorded. It's more streamlined and kind of direct and to the point. If anybody has any objections to the way they're written, then we'll look for a first and a second, and then we'll vote on them.
I honestly didn't get a copy of the minutes,
Uh,
but I'm sure they're perfect. I'm sure they're.
I'll
how
give
they
you a
should
copy
be.
here if you'd like.
That's all right. I'll just follow along with you.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Second, very good. Can we get a vote, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Haney.
Yes.
Ms. Hutto.
Yes.
Mr. Robichaud.
Yes.
Mr. Stryker.
Yes.
Chairman Riga.
Yes, thank you. Nice job writing that. I like the way that they're summarized.
Thank you to Janice at Callaway. She guided me.
Much better. Okay, very good. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we're going to ask if there are any items from the audience that are not on the current agenda. If not, then Mr. McConnell, is that Mr. McConnell? If you'll come up and I understand, just to give me if you don't mind giving all of the commissioners sort of a brief understanding of what we're doing today.
Appreciate you guys having me. Give you a little breakdown of what we got going on here. This lot is on, it's outlined in red here. This is on McCole Drive.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it mates up to the lots that have houses on them behind it. Each of them are about 150 foot deep and 67 and a half feet wide. And what I would like to do, I had this survey done which shows the separation of each one of these into the 67 and a half by 150 foot lots there.
Very good.
So it, in other words, it matches from one side to the other. And then, so I'd like to separate those, and what I intend on doing after I separate them is building these
Yeah, oh, he definitely has to plat it.
new houses. These are 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 square foot houses. We built several of them in town here in the last couple of years. Everybody likes them.
Very good. So just a couple of things. So it looks to me like in the city of Parker and also in Bay County, anytime you're dividing land into 3 or more segments, then ultimately it becomes a subdivision. So the rules sometimes are a little bit different between just a normal division of land and then also what would be required under a subdivision. The really good news here for you is that you've got every one of those is going to be accessible by McCole Drive. So we're not talking about a subdivision in the normal sense where streets and sewer and fiber optic and water and all that would be, because that's likely already in there. Is that an official plat that you have there that you showed us, that survey?
It was off the the survey is the official survey, yes.
Okay, very
And
good,
you've got a copy of it as well.
very
But a
good.
plat is different, Mr. Chair, so he's gonna have to present a plat to
Yes.
y'all,
Yes.
for you to recommend to the council.
So what Mr. Sloan is saying is that when a land is divided as many times as you're dividing it, the rules require that you provide an official plat, which actually shows those boundaries. And then that way we can actually vote on that specific plat, and then there's something to actually go against to make sure that that plat is being adhered to. And here, you're at exactly the right place. You start with planning. Once planning approves that plat, then it goes to our council members for approval, and then you likely know the rest of the process. You know, you go to the city clerk and get that plat actually approved, and then onto public records and for taxation reasons and all of that reasons.
Okay.
But we can provide you with this information,
Sure.
and that is that what you're looking to do, our land development rules don't have any rules against what you're wanting to do. The principal reason for what you come to us is to make sure that you're not dividing it into unbuildable lots.
Sure.
And each one of these look like they're gonna be 11 or 12,000 square feet in size, is that about right?
Sure.
And in a low-density residential area, we just require at least 7,500 square foot, so you're well above that. However, if you look at the Bay County rules, because it comes into a subdivision, there are different things that they're gonna request. It's actually gonna be considered a subdivision approval due to the size that you're gonna be submitting. And that's where you create a vicinity map, a preliminary plan map, you know, for our purposes, the plat that Mr. Sloan is talking about. Streets and roads are already laid out, utilities. We're making sure, we have to abide by something called concurrency rules. Concurrency rules just make sure that all of the infrastructure from the city standpoint is in place in order for these structures to go forward.
Absolutely.
And that's why, but this is not only a Parker request, this is a Bay County request. But you're a builder, is that right, sir?
I am.
Okay, then you're familiar with Section 29 and the Bay County Land Development Regulations, which requires those A through G items, right? Okay. And knowing who's in the room, I'll just mention that there are very specific stormwater control and environmental protection plan due to the size. FDEP, if it's under 10 acres, they're gonna simply ask for a survey, and then if it doesn't require anything special, then it'd be allowed to be moving forward. And then I don't think any of that land is in a special flood hazard area, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so item G wouldn't have to be adhered to. But for our purposes, we just really need an official plat, which clearly shows where that division is going to go. But I can tell you that, in my estimation, based on the pictures you've given us, there's nothing that would, in my estimation, and I'm gonna ask the other commissioners to speak up, but in my estimation, what you're attempting to do doesn't look like there'd be any rules against it.
Okay.
Any other thoughts, guys?
And that plat, Mr. Chair, will need to be reviewed by Anchor.
By Anchor, okay. Yes, due to the size of the project, it's, like I say, it's considered a subdivision because the council members rewrote the rules regarding land development rules in Parker. And because it's 3 and more, it does have to be reviewed by them as an actual subdivision. And we have our own city engineer that just reviews it. But I'm fairly certain we know the LDRs like they do. I don't imagine there would be any hitches here, but Anchor does review it. They are the group that serves as our engineer, just in case there's anything we missed or didn't know about.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so,
Anchor
and you,
over on Harrison or Magnolia or?
well, you can actually, this young lady right here is our chief planning officer right here. Her name is Carly. You've probably already dealt
Yeah.
with Carly. If you want to deliver that to her, she can officially then make sure that Anchor gets a copy of it.
Okay.
And they like PDF their email.
Okay.
They don't like the
Email, yeah, I got you. You talking about Elizabeth, is that who you work with over there? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Now, there's nothing also that you can't says that you wouldn't want to tell us a little bit about the homes that you're building. They look like they're appropriate sizes. Our job, again, in planning is to make sure that that setbacks are right. I saw that on some of the documentation, you showed the right-of-way. What's not clear to us based on these documents is, the front of the property lines, the side lines, and then the rear lines. In a residential area, that's 20 in the back, from the property line, 20 on the other side of the right-of-way, and then 7 feet from the property line on either side of the properties. And it looks, based on the size of the structure, that it's going to adhere to that. Certainly, it'll fit into that box, but to follow those rules.
Sure. Now, when you say plat, is that what you mean, site plan showing where the houses are gonna go on there?
It's actually a subdivision plat. If you look at our land development regulations, we have a section on subdivisions, and you'll have to,
Section 5-10.
Mr. Robichaux has memorized these, so he is.
And I would encourage you to read this. It explains the whole process to you. What
Right.
needed. In addition to that, a major development plan will be required, right?
Yes, it's considered a major development because it's more than just single family dwelling. You're dividing land more than three or more, so it's going to be considered a major development. And for that reason, it has to be reviewed by Anchor, as Mr. Sloan had identified. And they review the LDRs, they review the same things essentially we do. They review the environmental rules to make sure that nothing is in violation there. So it's really that straightforward.
And one other thing, are you creating a homeowners association or no? Okay.
Yeah. So they'll be owned for individually owned homes. Yeah. It's the size of the project that makes it a large development, and it's the number of divisions that you're doing that ultimately we have to follow the rules within the LDRs to make sure. But again, we've all reviewed what was sent to us last week. We reviewed, the size of the property. What wasn't clear at that time is how you're going to divide the land, but it looks like it's going to be in quarter-acre segments, which certainly meets all the requirements that we're looking for. Like I say, they may come up with something that they may ask for a correction for, something that may be missing that they'll ask for some additional clarity on. But what I see so far, based on the property appraiser's information, the pictures, plus that survey that you gave us, everything looks like it would be fine, unless I'm missing something.
So basically, for the plat, when I turn that in, that's gotta go to Anchor so they can look at it and say, hey, this looks good, this will work as far as the LDR, no stormwater ponds required,
Right.
all that kind of stuff. Is that,
That's really
right way?
And all that, as Mr. Robichaux said, is contained in our land development
And it's
regulations.
available online on the City of Parker website. I encourage you to download it.
Sure.
It's a PDF document, print it out and go to the appropriate section so you get it straight from the official printed page.
It's 510.
Well,
Yeah.
it's actually, section 510 is the subdivision standards and plat approval section.
Okay.
There are other sections that will apply.
Okay.
Like the major development requirement is in a different section. But it's all indexed, there's a table of contents in the front.
Okay, now let me ask you a question. So, let's say that I split this land one time, then it's not considered a major development, is that correct?
Split it into 3 or more
No,
parcels.
one-
It's
In
3
other
or
words-
more requires a subdivision, but if you're,
In other words, I divide it in half.
if you're, the city would look at it, if you divide it in half and then want to divide it again, then the city would look at that time as a subdivision, because you're trying
It's
to.
the same thing.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
trying to get around the
Right. Well,
subdivision.
well, you're the attorney, is there a legal loophole in that? I mean, can I divide it in half and then sell it to somebody else? Well, I mean, I'm just asking, I mean, we all take advantage of loopholes if they're legal,
True.
We all do.
I would encourage you to go to the Bay County Land Development Regulations, if you got a pencil with you. It is section 2901. There are limitations for how many times you can divide a parcel of land in the state of Florida and also in Bay County. I might want to go through that section. That's, like I say, it's 2901, section 2902, and that actually gives you the different standards that you'll need to abide by. But there are limitations based on size and also how often it can be divided. And then also who's involved. For example, there's more flexibility if you're dividing it amongst family members as compared to being a builder and dividing it and then selling the properties off.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It's only about 15 pages in duration. It is their latest, I think this was done, right at 9/9/21. So it's the latest land development rules. for
Well,
Bay Canyon.
just so you guys know, and the reason I said that, Mr. Sloan, is, if I divide it in half myself, because I'm the current owner, then I sell it, both parcels to someone else, are they allowed to divide them in half yet again, if it's not me or not owned by me?
That is gonna be in that section that I mentioned to
Oh,
you.
it is in there? Okay.
Yes, sir. The state does have, they have limits for how often, and then the size of the parcel of lands. And like I say, it's different depending on who, let's say you sold it to a brother. He has more flexibility than if you sold it to an individual.
Okay.
And again, that's in that section.
That's what I'm saying, I've got family members I could do that with. So.
There you go, there you
Okay.
go. So,
Okay.
yeah. And,
Yeah,
you know,
and here's
Well,
the
work,
reason I
work
say
with
that.
her on the process, if you would, please.
What's that?
Work with the city planner
Oh, I
on the
will,
process.
yeah, I will. Yeah, the only reason I say that is we're building these, the low cost. As far as I know, I'm the least expensive home builder in the county as far as building houses, as cheap as I can. These houses have sold for as low as $185 brand new, as high as, depending on a lot, what I had to pay for it, $225 brand new. So I'm trying to keep the cost down, so if I have to jump into stormwater and I can't, I won't be able to absorb that in the cost and then resell it to somebody, so I'll have to think of something else. Which maybe if there's a legal loophole, I'll take that. If not, I just cut it in half and have to build two houses. I mean, I'll be upfront with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that I'm doing, so there's no sense in I have people that come to me all the time. Well, James, I said, what are you doing with this, this, and this? And they said, well, as far as you know, this is what we're doing. And I was like, no, man, don't do that to yourself. Tell me what you're doing, because I know how this stuff works and I can help you out, so that's the way I want people to treat me, so that's the way I'm, treating you guys, so. But, I appreciate,
Look at those sections that
We
the
will.
chair is, and Ms. Robichaud has identified.
we will,
Yeah.
we'll turn that in and hopefully it won't trip anything that's gonna cost a ton of money to,
Right.
to move forward
Right.
with. That's,
Right.
that's the only thing, I mean, time and paperwork, and I don't care about that, but, tripping into something that doesn't make sense, that's gonna cost a lot of extra money,
Yeah.
Let me see if I can kind of help you here on a few other things. So the city is very concerned about certain tree removal, and I'm not familiar with this parcel of land, but if there are some rather large trees that are what we deem as protected trees, please go ahead and review the protected tree section as well, because if they're going to want to see what's there, and if
Vacant, just so you know.
oh, okay, so
No trees.
no large
No.
trees or any, okay,
No trees at all.
all right, very good,
Not even a bush.
very
It's
good.
like, literally, you can cut it with a ride lawnmower.
Good.
That's how.
Good
clean it
deal.
is.
And in a place like that, we do ask that those properties be built 1 foot above the crown of the road, just for flooding purposes, just things that you'll see in our LDRs for sure.
Absolutely. Yep.
But I'm sure they're gonna be magnificent homes, and thanks for improving the neighborhood, we
Yeah.
appreciate that.
All right, we appreciate you guys.
So get that plat over to Carly, and then she'll get it over to Anchor, and then they'll send it back to us. And then also to kind of prevent you from having to go many steps beyond that, if you want to go ahead and create a full survey then, which would show not only the plat, but then also the developments you're anticipating, we could do that at the next meeting. We could then approve the land division, look at the properties you're building, confirm that there's nothing that would, I would put all that together so you don't have time against
Sure,
you.
I got you.
And then that way, we can review everything and you can move on with your project.
Point of clarification, we
Please.
can recommend approval
Yes.
to the city council. We can't approve anything.
Absolutely, yeah, we're an advisory body here. Mr. McDonald, so ultimately, we advise the council members, and then they make the final vote, and then they move
And
on
I've
from there.
I've been on the board of directors for the last 2
Yeah.
years, I'm very, very aware of what you guys do.
But, I mean, to put a feather back in
And
our
your time
hats.
that you spend doing this is appreciated.
Well, and, I mean, these guys tend to know the LDRs better than anybody, so, along with our city attorney here.
Sure, sure.
Very
So
good.
just for clarification for me,
Yes.
so this survey that I've got, it shows the new boundaries that I would like to have,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So I need to have a plat in accordance with the sections that you're reading off to me.
Your survey will know exactly.
Your
what-
surveyor will know
The
what
surveyor,
he
so
needs
he'll
to
be able
do.
to take this
Mhm.
and put it with that and take care of business.
It's just got different.
Yes,
Gotcha, okay.
Detail.
That's
Yes.
all I need to know, thank you.
Mark,
yes, sir.
I'm trying to put myself in his shoes. It would be nice if the city had a sheet of paper they could hand him and say, 1, 2, 3, 4, this is what you have to do.
Steps, yeah.
I'd be lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know as a builder, knows these things, but I'd be lost.
Yeah, it
if I
actually,
was trying to do it.
to be honest with you, when we all created the LDRs in
Right.
that section 5 that Mr.
kinda put it
Robichaud,
in there.
it really does. It kind of walks you through the process in
Yeah.
terms of what needs to be done. And then, like I say, the state has their own requirements for environmental protection. We
Right.
have our own in terms of floodwater and all of that stuff. But section 5, if you look at that under it's Article 5, it's development standards, and it reads pretty easy. It's not a giant book of information. Our goal is not to preclude building and growth.
Right.
It's to just make sure that it's done, properly and, within the setbacks and boundaries and things that we wish it to be. But yeah, there actually is a pretty straightforward step-by-step in terms of what's required
Awesome.
under those standards. Yeah, and then actually section 4 might be of interest to you as well. And that's actually, that's your, the different land use districts, because those rules change a little bit if you were building beyond low-density residential. And then section 6 actually goes right into your development review procedure. And that's the part actually that you need, that I think I was trying to convey to Terry, and I just missed it. But that's actually the procedure that you would go through in order to get it done properly. But you're in the right spot.
Gotcha.
And Carly's a tremendous asset, so
Awesome.
she'll steer that plat in the right direction.
Awesome.
Okay.
Appreciate you guys.
I appreciate you. Thank you, sir. Any, at this time, is there any audience
That it?
thoughts?
You guys done?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I'd
Thank
like
you,
to
sir.
just tell you, I'm proud to see single-family dwellings going in instead of townhouses.
Yeah.
Right.
Me
That's,
too.
that's what we
Yeah,
really
people-
like to see. And
People
that's,
really like these houses, I mean,
Yeah.
they sell very, very fast. just
I can
because-
imagine.
Because of the price points on them and they're brand new.
Right.
And people are like, I can get them, because you, take a look at what's out there for $200,000.
Oh, yeah.
1978 when it was built. And it ain't worth much.
Kindle
a
plus
cardboard
is not gonna
box
hurt
is
you
worth
any.
that on the street,
Yeah.
the sidewalk
People
now.
get a brand new house, like, oh my God, yeah, let me get that. So,
Yeah.
Thank you.
thank you guys.
Thank you, Ms. McCollum. Very good. Any other thoughts? How are we doing on the light industrial? We're just,
I have, me and, Mr. Sloan and I have exchanged, documentation and iterations, and I think we have it, I think I have it in a final form. I'm awaiting Mr. Sloan's review, he's a busy fellow. In the meantime, what I've done is to try to make it easier on both the city and everybody else who happens to have their own copy of the LDR, I created a change document, which is like
Nice.
8 pages, and it's basically a remove and replace. Take this page out, put this page in, and it incorporates the change, and the change is marked as changed. So I don't want to hand that out because we need to approve it, and
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. It'll be
It'll
an
an
ordinance, and it will be we will review it, or is it just going to go straight to the city council?
No, I'll bring it back to the planning commission when it's ready.
Okay, and then we vote up or down, or change happy to glad, and then it passes to the city council, and if
Right.
they approve it at that point, this change document will reflect what the ordinance says, and it'll be the actual page for page change, and we can load this up onto the city website as well. If Madam Clerk, if you have a way to edit PDF files, you can actually insert individual pages into a PDF file, and then you would have change one.
Yeah,
dated.
as long as she has the password for the PDF, she can.
Well, I'll give her the
Yeah.
Word document.
Anybody
She
can, as long
create
as-
her own PDF.
Yes.
Sweet.
I have that ability now.
No, okay, because I don't. I have the cheap PDF editor.
Otherwise, we're read-only.
Yeah.
We are losing Mr. Sloan here in a couple of minutes, so I'll ask again if there's anything from the audience. Joe, nothing today? Well, come on, man. We always get educated when you come to the podium, so I appreciate you. All right, very good. Well, Terry, anything for the group?
Just food for thought. When we have these big projects like the storage place or the lay down lumber yard or the steel rolling place down here, can we attach a performance bond to that to make sure it comes out the way they say it's gonna?
I think
Come
we
on.
have that right, don't we? It would be a contract between the city and the builder, but,
Usually your performance bond, though, is to perform the terms of some contract or some agreement with the city. So in a subdivision context, usually you have a performance bond so that the city knows that the streets and the infrastructure will be put
Right.
in the way it's presented.
Yeah.
In the case of a single lot, single parcel development, I'm not sure. I mean, there may be things that they're required to do, and certainly in the development order, they would be required to do. For instance, if they were having to lay a new 8-inch line or put in a fire hydrant or,
Right.
Some of those things, then the city could require a performance bond to make sure that gets done.
Example, the lumber yard down there, the only thing it has in common with what they proposed is that it has lumber.
Well, they did build the little building,
They
but we're
built a
still
little
not.
bit, they're still not out of
yeah.
the other stuff, I don't think.
I kind of
But
feel.
I'm just saying, I know it's sold,
Yeah,
but it's nothing like
yeah.
it
I
was
kinda-
presented. I'm just tired of getting hornswoggled about it.
I kind of feel like with that, because they sold right after they had come in here, that the people that bought it weren't told, this is what I said I was gonna do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so now they're, so I mean, who of us goes to them and says, you realize when this was approved, that we said A, B, C, and D, and now you bought it, and I don't know if the people that you bought it from told you that they agreed to that for us, but you're not doing what was agreed to.
That's what your code officer is for.
Oh, okay.
If it's constructed. If it's not constructed, then the city can put a stop work order on it until they comply with the plans.
Yeah,
and
because I mean, it
specs
does
that have
look
been
like it's
approved.
just a very
A development approval
slow.
doesn't transfer with the property.
A development approval would transfer in the sense that it's supposed to be developed the way the original applicant said it was gonna be developed.
Right.
So
But it still has to be enforced by.
it has to be enforced by the city, that's correct.
Okay.
And Terry, I went by there,
Yeah.
Fulcrum specifically, it's not Fulcrum anymore, but I went by there with that exact thing in mind, because last time I went by there, they had open storage of lumber.
Right.
And I've noticed they built that
It's better.
that structure, and there's still some stuff laying out in the open
Yeah,
storage, but it
yeah.
looks like they're
It's
slowly moving
A
it in.
slow, yeah.
And they have begun putting the fence around the Lake Fulcrum.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanna know where the fountain and the lights are.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good, like the Bellagio, yeah.
Yeah, but
So
the,
to me, it looks like they're approaching what they said they were gonna
Yeah.
do.
yeah,
And the dry storage, the move it storage place.
did exactly
It's
what.
fine.
It's
It's
yeah.
fine.
That's
a beautiful- just to
that's
drive
what
by
they said
at
they were
night.
gonna do, so.
But when we're told we're gonna have this beautiful product and you're gonna be proud of it, and it turns into a lay down yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a period of
Yes,
time.
ma'am.
So, just a quick question. So if they are doing what they're doing and then we have to do a stop work order, does that also include that they have to stop business as well?
Mhm.
Because they're still
Well, this would be for
selling
stopping
lumber,
construction.
Yeah,
just construction.
yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
If it's still under construction and they're not complying with the development permit or the building permit, then the city would have the right to do a stop work order. If it's constructed, then that's where code comes in.
I didn't know if that would, also entail for them to stop business as well.
Well, the COO would be the key there. You withhold the COO until it is substantially complied with the
Complied.
development order. And that is something the city has control over
Yeah.
when they come in with a COO. That would be an enforcement method.
I'm just being sensitive to
And-
Mr. Sloan,
And
so.
that motel,
Yeah.
because it's not a hotel, it's a motel.
Yeah, right.
It's gonna go up. I will be watching that with great interest.
Bev,
Right.
anything from you? Mr.
Nothing from me.
Robichaud? John, anything?
Happy Hurricane Michael plus 5 years. I guess.
Right. We
I-
survived.
I would just like to let everybody know our code officer quit last week,
Yeah.
so we are now without a code officer again.
So who, hey, Joe?
Where y'all
You'd
get
be a
these
perfect code officer.
Right,
Where do you
right.
get these code officers from? The temporary labor or
I
something like
was
that? Is that where they come
not-
from,
Mr.
or-
Sloan, anything from you, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm gonna, due to the fact that we're losing our city attorney,
You were
due to
what?
other commitments, we're gonna go ahead and shut the meeting down. Thank you, everybody, appreciate your attention. Thank you, sir, have a great
30
day.
minutes, that's gotta be a record.
Mr. Sloan, I'll get those 2 items over to you.
Yes, sir.
Tell them about the demo permit you approved today? The building?
He knows. Mr.